Welcome everyone to another episode of Football Armchair Experts, where we pretend to know everything, but actually we know nothing. Quite a time to be a Premier League manager. 6 Premier League managers have lost their jobs in the last 6 weeks, but it's been a pretty good week for most of our experts here. A full-time Chelsea fan and part-time Ceylon Tea ambassador Robin Lowe, of course, saw his team maintain their lead at the top of the table, 3-0 against Leicester. Relief Liverpool fan Imran, luckily there was no episode last week, managed to win 4-0 against Arsenal. COVID survivor and Newcastle fan Manzoor saw his team survive 3-3 against Brentford. And I myself, Mark, I'm a Fulham fan. We won 4-1 against Barnsley to make it 7 in a row in the Championship, now top of the table. Of course, no Manchester United fans 3 this week. He's mourning the sacking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so we won't disturb him.
How many subscribers do we have now, actually?
No, our subscribers have never changed.
Maybe now you need to insert like the animation there.
Sometimes we have to look
press the like
inward.
button animation.
But
Yeah,
Give us a like, a thumbs up.
it'll make us happy.
so we begin at the scene of the crime, Vicarage Road. Watford 4-1 winners over Manchester United. How bad was it against Watford?
I think they really didn't show much. First half, I think we could safely say Watford deserved to win the first half. Second half, I think Van der Beek kind of changed the game, gave Man U a chance, not just with the goal, but I think they nearly equalized. After that, it was a series of individual mistakes again by none other than Captain Fantastic Maguire.
Let's do his celebration now.
Yeah, that guy, oh my God, he made himself look so terrible. That tackle was ridiculous. Wow, it was a joke. And from then on, it almost felt like the whole defense just gave up. The last 2 goals were like too easy for Watford to score. Very good finishes, but to get there, it felt too easy. So, deserved victory for Watford, but terrible optics for Man United. Like their midfield were pretty trash.
Tree was going to join us last week. He said through text that he was blaming Fred for this. Fred didn't start this game. He wasn't even on the pitch. So, obviously you have to look around. Maybe perhaps it's the manager. I think there won't be a lot of arguments against that. Probably have to ask Imran, is this a little bit too late to sack Ole? I mean, it is the right decision to sack him, but should he have been sacked after the Liverpool defeat?
After the Liverpool game, he should have been gone already. But of course, that's from an outsider's point of view, right? From an insider's point of view, you can, I would think that a lot of fans also still not really calling for his head yet. It's like more and more, but it's not like a consensus thing, right? And then from the club's perspective, it's like, okay, as long as he can ride out this wave of negativity and bounce back, then they are back in business, which was what he did, I think, quite consistently in his tenure there. Right? It's like every year there will be a period where he screw up and then people will be like, Ole out, is it gonna happen? And then he will bounce back with like a run of wins and like beating the top and like beating the big clubs. So I guess the board probably thought that was gonna happen this time. Like, okay, we just don't do anything, quiet. Hopefully after the international break coming back, beat Watford, everything back to normal. But obviously didn't happen.
Ironically, a lot of teams use the international break to sack managers. Norwich, I guess you can say, showed ambition by sacking Daniel Farke. Aston Villa also sacked their manager. A lot of people would say that's quite a harsh sacking also. But they gave themselves those 2 weeks to find a new manager. Now Man U are like panicking, trying to find a replacement. We'll get to that situation a bit later. But I guess, is this a bit of like arrogance from Manchester United to say that we can? Apparently, the situation was that if Ole had managed to even draw against Watford, he probably would have survived.
I think in a way it is lah. But looking at their schedule coming up, right? I think if he wasn't sacked today or yesterday, this week against Watford, I think he would be sacked against Chelsea lah. To be honest. Okay. Yeah, and I think that would be a worse way to go.
After the 4-1 defeat to Watford, also Ole went to the fans. There was a little bit of a weird, awkward situation where Bruno was like, "Oh, don't point to him, point to us," kind of thing.
He just shows he's a nice guy manager lah. That's like Steve Bruce lah. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Full of character, full of charisma, full of the nice guy energy, but lack any XO in the head. So I think, it's a matter of time this kind of manager gets the sack lah.
I think it's all optics on Bruno's part there. It's like, if you want to support a manager, just do it on a pitch. I don't have to do all this extra stuff outside. Like, lose really, then come and wave here, wave there. Like, what the hell? Just play properly.
The current situation is something that's quite interesting. They currently have an interim manager for an interim manager. I don't think any other club has done this before.
It just shows how incompetent their their board is, and I don't think I've ever even said that before. It's like usually, okay, like, you roughly don't know, like all the fans, we can only speculate, right? We don't know what the hell's happening within the club themselves. And generally, I will give them a benefit of a doubt, lah. So like, for example, Arsenal, okay, like people talk a lot about them, but at least they are sort of trying, they are spending money, just maybe not getting it right or whatever. But in this case, it's like clearly incompetence, because in the first place, Ole is like not very solid really, right? And then since like the Liverpool game, when there's a few like cracks happening or like there's pressure on him, right? And even though they decide to stick with Ole, they should already at that point sort of have a backup plan. Like, okay, what happens if we lose the next game? What happens if we lose at the next few games? Like, what should we do after that? And they should have had a plan B, like, oh, okay, if his position is like untenable at some point, we need to have like this contingency plan in place. It's like which they didn't have. It's like to them, like after the board meeting where they were saying, okay, we're gonna support Ole, then they just like autopilot already, like, oh, okay, we're done with our decision making, like Ole go and have fun. Then after that, this happens and then they are like panicking again, like, oh shit, what do we do?
I guess maybe because Michael Carrick was also part of the backroom staff with Ole also, probably you wouldn't expect a lot of change in terms of like tactics, because Ole did have quite a young backroom staff with him, Michael Carrick, Darren Fletcher, also don't really know what they're doing, also kind of didn't really help. So, I mean, do you expect there to be any sort of reaction? You're kind of facing them next week, the next Premier League game.
I'm hoping for no reaction, obviously, but it would be a bit hypocritical if there were big changes at Man U. I mean, tactically, because if Michael Carrick felt something was off about Ole's tactics, he should have voiced it out as a support staff, right? So don't just wait for him to get sacked before you implement your ideas. I mean, it's quite hypocritical to think that way. So I think the only difference comes from the players magically revitalizing themselves, their spirit, their fight. Tactically, I don't know how good Carrick is, but I don't see a big change formation-wise.
We should kind of look back on where it all went wrong for Ole. Some people will say maybe the fact that bringing in CR7 kind of forced upon him, kind of threw his plans up. But you can sort of say, he wanted Van der Beek, he wanted Jadon Sancho. He didn't play them. He did play Jadon Sancho at the weekend, not much of an impact. Van der Beek only came on in the second half, ironically scored the last goal of the Ole era.
It's tough to say because all these kind of selection issues is very retrospect. If they flop because there's no Maguire, they'll say, why didn't you play our captain? He's clearly our best defender, but he's sitting on the bench. But I mean, turns out, thankfully, he made a lot of mistakes. It's hilarious. So I don't know if it's a selection problem. If anything, I just feel very bad for Van der Beek because he's clearly one of the top centre mids there, but they keep sticking with an underperforming McTominay and a clearly aging and not mobile Matic.
And
it's
Fred.
A bit of a joke. Yeah, Fred. I mean, Fred has also like dropped off. Last year, him and McTominay legit kind of just defended their way to second place.
I mean, David De Gea's comments after the game also weren't great. Also, he's basically said we don't know what to do with the ball, we don't know how to defend properly. Basically, more or less saying sack the manager because we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah,
isn't great but the fact that Ole lasted 3 years, he did have some memorable results also. I mean, at the end of these 3 years, what can Manchester United fans look back on though? Like, was this a success or not?
Yes, just because the bar was so low. Who was before him? Mourinho, was it?
Yeah.
Who won 3 trophies though?
Yeah, but I mean, when he left, it was a hot pile of crap. I think the mood was trash, was worse than now. So I think it's easy for him to just have the feel-good factor, and that's his biggest legacy. It should have been the UEFA. I will always say the Europa League should have been his trophy, but
that's the thing. It's like it will be remembered as the feel-good factor era where they just feel good for a while, but they mean nothing, and then they regress back to how Ole took over. So now it's like a bit bad. I don't even know if it's better than like the Mourinho when Mourinho was leaving. He also kind of trashed by Liverpool and he get fired. Then now Ole kind of trashed by Liverpool and after that then get fired also. So sort of a similar situation.
Yeah, I don't really get this. I mean, I get that, okay, obviously he's a club legend, therefore, there's a bit more like Manchester United fans, even towards the end, I'm pretty sure if Sri were on here also, he'll be very reluctant to say that it was the right decision to sack Ole. It would pain him a lot to say that. But yeah, I think to put it like, if the legacy he's left behind is the feel-good factor, like what Manchester United are supposed to be like a big club. You can't say that his legacy is, the friends you made along the way cannot be what. Like,
But such is their state now, right?
People money to come and make friends at the club.
How the job is too big for Ole, right? Actually, I don't know. I see two sides to it because one is definitely true, like he doesn't have the credentials to back it up. But on the other, we also see clubs like Barcelona constantly doing that, but always succeeding. For example, when Pep Guardiola took over, he also didn't have a proper manager job anywhere else, right? He was like the B team coach or something. And they're like, okay, go and have a try.
I guess Pep is
And then-
more of a gamble lah. But only you can see his past credential is trash. Like based on the clubs that he has managed previously. Like Cardiff, to Moder, to Man U, just because he's the golden boy. Perhaps could be a step too big lah.
I think it's quite ironic that even like a lot of the Manchester United pundits also right now, like Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, are probably not helping Manchester United. Like a lot of times, Antonio Conte available, they say, oh, he's not really our type of manager. I don't really know what they're looking for.
Yeah,
so they're just going to have an interim until...
Yeah, that's why. I see the board don't know, and I think the fans don't know also. Like they want Conte, and then Gary Neville was there like, Antonio Conte won't come on, like he's not our manager, not our type, and then he also don't want to come to me. I don't know what the hell he talking about. Like, it was
not our type kind of reminds me a bit about like relationships kind of thing. Like you want to be attached, then everybody also not your type.
Yeah, he legit said it on Sky Sports, right? Like after Ole was sacked, he was like, Antonio Conte was never coming to Man U, but like he said he want to come. What the hell?
What is Manchester United's type?
Okay, I think you can use Mark's relationship analogy lah.
Okay.
Because Man U they are like the big influencer, you know what I mean? But now they're having a bad time.
Okay.
So what I suggest the Man U board to do is just get a big name. Just go for a big name to say the shit. I mean, it's just like you are a failing influencer. Just get together for like a big name star to get your name up there again.
Okay. So it's something like Xia Xue's interviewer.
Yeah, just get a big name, like big Conte, big Pochettino, any of these fuckers. I think. I mean, it might not stay the shit right away, but then at least it instills some confidence in the club again lah from his fans. You know what I mean? At least now you're doing something. If they get a fucking Gary Neville, right, I think it's going to shit. It's going to fucking shit.
But that's the thing, it's interim now. Which good manager wants to be an interim manager?
Don't stop with the interim. Just go with the Pochettino. Just go with the Conte. Just go with the whoever's still around. I don't know who's around. Yeah. But whoever they want to get there.
Honestly, I don't mind if they get Pochettino. I don't think he will do as well.
Okay.
I mean, he goes from Messi to Ronaldo. I think not bad as well.
Yeah, I don't think he's not doing a very good job at PSG. I feel.
I mean, decent lah. They're winning.
I mean, okay lah. Technically, they're still top of the French league, Champions League. All they can do now is just to qualify.
Yeah,
so...
but they've been like scraping past games and like getting like those 3-2 wins, and then like last season never win the league. Those sort of things, right? And he's also working with a similar group of players as at Man U.
Okay.
At PSG, so like, I don't know if he can really do it.
Okay, so I mean, I guess maybe if you were the Manchester United board, then which manager will you go for, right? Realistically? So
there is a manager with Premier League experience available now. Frank de Boer.
Myself say Steve Bruce. What the hell?
Hey,
Steve Bruce has backed himself to get the job.
Get Roy Keane, let's go and beat everybody up. Then from the
Steve Bruce is called to get interim job. Can I make it? It's the dream job lah. So I guess he doesn't mind being the dream job for 3 months. Yeah.
And not bad. He said that Newcastle was his dream job. Then now it's another back-to-back dream jobs.
I mean, he's so old. He probably have a lot of dreams. But then, but I think they should still go for a big name. If they go for someone like Lucien Favre, I think a bit not lah. No, I mean a bit not really there lah. And what's that guy who was in Newcastle? The Paulo
Fonseca. No lah.
I think also no lah. Let's go for a big name. I feel. Yeah.
But got a big name around. Like
is there Pochettino or CC though?
I thought they want the Ajax manager.
Or
Eric Ten Hag. I think cannot lah. That one he only used to teaching the small boys. You know what I mean? If you go to Man U, he'll screw up. Arsene Wenger, I think he also knows John now, right?
Or if I'm Arsene Wenger, I would do it, just to rub it in Alex Ferguson's face. Go do it, and then like 1 year, then like just to say I've done it, then like bye bye. But I think for interim managers, not a lot of options.
He'll probably be a former Manchester United player.
Yeah, I think so lah.
I mean, I would love that lah. Cause all of them suck lah.
I vote Steve Bruce lah.
Oh, you'll be the biggest joke.
I think at this point for the Man U fans, right, it's like which one is the lesser of two evils? You rather have Michael Carrick and like their current team now, or would you rather have a trashy ex-Man U player manager?
I think Michael Carrick better. At least there's some mystery amount. They still push you know what you're gonna get. 3 months of trash. That's what you're gonna get. You know what I mean? At least Michael Carrick and his staff, there's still that small glimmer of hope that they might turn out to be the next Pep.
Sticking with Michael Carrick is actually a safe option. Right? Yeah, maybe give him till before Christmas, 2-3 games. Maybe he does well. Then they would be tempted to, let's use him as an interim.
Then
Second
Just
Ole
like
already.
Ole, right?
yeah,
Just
another
like
3 years.
Ole.
Another 3 years.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's all hope that happens.
Yeah.
Michael Carrick for the job.
Yeah. Then after 3 years, it's like Darren Fletcher. Then they just go on.
I think after 3 years, I think Ronaldo can take a job there.
Oh yeah, that's
Retire already.
That's true. Probably have to give a little bit of credit to Watford. They did play. I won't say they played very well, but decent enough to beat Man U. They wanted to win more in that sense. Watford also could afford to miss a penalty twice some more to Ismaila Sarr. Cost me a few points in the FPL.
but he scored, right? Eventually.
Yeah, he made up for it. Yeah.
But they get minus points for missing penalties. Oh
Yes.
shit, they just offset it.
But you do get more points for scoring than missing penalties. So
Oh.
and then cancel out. Of course, tonight they are facing against Good Evening. Speaking of Good Evening, of course, he turned down the Newcastle job. This was something we wanted to talk about last week. He turned down the Newcastle job. He was the first choice, apparently. It went to, I don't know what choice it was, but Eddie Howe is currently the manager of Newcastle. A few weeks ago, we were saying, could it be Eddie Howe? Manjun said that they didn't become the richest club in the world just to appoint Eddie Howe, but that's the reality now.
He's the
How about
interim.
So, I mean, what do you think of the appointment, though?
Okay, I guess in hindsight, right, anybody's better than Bruce. Yeah, anybody's an upgrade.
That's low bar.
There is a low bar. The sad part is that we have set such a low bar that Eddie Howe becomes an immediate upgrade. But for the moment, I mean, can see their performance definitely way better.
Okay.
More attacking, more garang. So I guess that's a upgrade. Yeah. But still the players are still shit.
Okay.
Like our defense are still shit. So I
Do you
think
prefer Emery?
I don't think it'll be much of a difference though. I think Emery will still need the winter transfer window to do his shit. I think Eddie Howe will always do his shit. Buy back all his bomber players like Joshua King.
Does it concern you though that Eddie Howe, yes, he did a pretty decent job at Bournemouth, eventually went down. But actually the one thing that maybe you could say is a criticism is that his transfer dealings, the record isn't great.
I mean, in Bournemouth, he didn't have all the money in the world.
They did spend quite a lot on Jordan Ibe, and I don't know where he is now.
Oh my god, where the fuck is he now? I have no idea.
Dominic Solanke, is it?
Yeah, Dominic Solanke also is a bit of a kind of signing.
I think now at Newcastle a bit different from Bournemouth. I think now he can't bank on potential players. He has to go and get the legit ready-made players of the Premier League. He can't bank on the potential Jordan Ibe. So hopefully we won't get this kind of signing. I think if we do these signings like this, they sign 20, 21-year-olds with potential, I think we are screwed. Centre back definitely to upgrade.
Okay.
Centre mid definitely upgrade. I feel that Joe Willock has not lived up to his 25 million price tag and last year's hype. So he's still young, but I think there should be someone there besides Shelby to anchor the midfield. Because the game against Brentford, he really seemed like he wasn't there at all. I mean, a player would like Jesse Lingard, I think it will still be a step too far, but I think it will be a good signing. No, actually, I think you'll get scammed in the transfer window.
Okay.
But like Barcelona.
You will get scammed so hard.
Gonna highball.
Of course, Norwich also made the change. Daniel Farker out and Dean Smith in.
I mean, I agree that Daniel Farker sacking is a good move because maybe he didn't know how to properly utilize his big money signings. Yeah, so I think a bit too early to say. I still put them as relegation favourites, even with Dean Smith in. Yeah.
In the case that if they drop down to the Championship, he also has experience bringing the club up, bringing clubs up, so he can still do that again. And he also has experience keeping clubs up, so I think it's an upgrade.
It could have been Frank Lampard also at Norwich, but well, I guess maybe have to ask Robin. Good decision from Frank Lampard not to take the Norwich job.
I don't know why he didn't take it though. I thought it'd be quite an interesting challenge for him to get back in the game and apply whatever he learned from Chelsea. Because now I don't know where he's going to get a job next. How patient is he to stay unemployed?
I think the statement was that he don't want to be in a relegation fight or something, right?
I don't know. That's quite a weird mentality to have. Fair, but he must stay humble also, right? I mean, I know you came from Chelsea, but
Yeah, he managed Chelsea, he don't want to manage like relegation. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a weird thing to say, but okay, fair enough lah.
I guess in terms of asking about the Liverpool legend Steven Gerrard, of course, a lot of people have been saying this is probably his audition for potentially taking over Jurgen Klopp in the future at Liverpool. But of course, he started off with a very late win for Aston Villa against Brighton.
A bit more long term. I think Klopp still has like maybe 4 or 5 years left at Liverpool. I can see how when you're thinking of succession plans, Steven Gerrard comes into the picture. So yeah, I definitely agree that it's sort of an audition, but obviously he can't say that also. Like
Yeah, of course not. Yeah.
Like I think someone asked him also like during the Aston Villa like his unveiling, like, do you see this as a step up to the Liverpool job or something? And he was like, no, Aston Villa is a big club. I just want to talk about Aston Villa. But of course, at the back of his mind, he eventually want to be the Liverpool manager one day, and he did a good job at Rangers, I think. And so like now it's his time to prove it in the Premier League. And Aston Villa is a big enough club for him to do that. Like with a good enough squad, I think, for him to perform well. And like he has the foundations to do well. Like it's not like Frank Lampard thinking if you want to take over Norwich, cause that one really a bit like not here, not there. Like don't know whether he can do well or not. I think Aston Villa he can do well.
But hiring Steven Gerrard, I mean, yeah, to me, it just says that they are taking the gamble.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think winning the title with Rangers is that big of an accolade. I think Rangers, like, more or less, they're the best club in Scotland. So if you don't win with Rangers, I don't know what you win. I mean, can you say that? No, I mean, Celtic, I guess.
Also,
yeah, I mean, you either get first or second. I think even if you get second in the Scottish League, I think people also him as probably good manager. But I would think that Aston Villa would want to get someone more established than Gerrard if they got higher aims than that. Not too sure.
So I mean, what is Aston Villa's aim this season though to survive?
I mean, they got 10 last season, right? And then they want to splash a whole bunch of cash on Leon Bailey, on.
But that's because they're so Grealish.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, you can't just because you sell your best player, then you suddenly have lower expectations than the season before. To me, it's kind of weird signing. I would think so.
So out of the different managers that were linked with, did you have like maybe they should have gone for this manager instead?
Oh, I didn't have time to think about their thing. It's like they signed Gerrard so quickly.
Yeah, it was quite fast.
Yeah.
I mean, some would say that big clubs have this kind of mentality. They, once they see a problem, they deal with it, and then they have foresight to have a plan B. Well, some clubs don't really fit that kind of description.
Actually, I wonder how it's like for Oli. Like, confirm, is it every week then like all his ex teammates will like call him and like, hey, what are you doing? What the hell? Why are you playing?
Yeah, it sucks. Imagine your group chat, all this trash talk.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, they confirm got the WhatsApp group chat.
Class of 92, they kind of bullshit chat. Not talking shit. Like, hey, don't worry, bro, everything will be fine. That kind of shit.
Don't worry, if any of you ever manage a club that badly, I will call you out.
So hopefully you enjoyed our breakdown of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's breakdown at Manchester United. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.